706. You know very well that 706 deals with 2 points. First one is emphasis of matter paragraph. Second one is other matter paragraph. What is the only difference between emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph? If a particular point is appropriately disclosed by the management in the financial statements and in the opinion of the auditor, such a matter is very important for better understanding of financial statements to the users of the financial statements, then the auditor may try to highlight that matter by include or to draw the attention of the users of the financial statements to that matter by including the same matter again in the auditor's report in a separate paragraph called as dash. Emphasis of matter paragraph. Then what is other matter paragraph? A particular point has not been disclosed by the management in the financial statements, but the auditor is of the opinion that such point or such matter or matters are very much important or relevant for users' better understanding of audit procedures followed by the auditor as well as the audit report given by the auditor. In that case, the auditor will try to include a separate section in his auditor's report called as other matter paragraph. That is the basic difference between the terms emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. With this discussion, now you are capable of understanding what is emphasis of matter paragraph. Everything about emphasis of matter paragraph has already been explained to you. Even after going through essay 706, you won't find any new thing excepting some examples. Everything has been explained to you with regard to emphasis of matter paragraph, excepting examples. You will find several examples in essay 706. That's it. Topic 14. What is the emphasis of matter paragraph and what is other matter paragraph? I have read and explained you about the definitions of emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. Just go through that. What is emphasis of matter paragraph? This paragraph is to be included by the auditor in his report when the auditor wants to draw users' attention to a particular matter or matters that were already presented or disclosed by the management in the financial statements. However, in viewpoint of the auditor, such matter or such matters are of such importance that they are fundamental for users' better understanding of the financial statements. In that case, those matters which were already included by the management in the financial statements can be repeated by the auditor in his report under a heading called as dash, emphasis of matter paragraph. So emphasis of matter paragraph is a paragraph included in the auditor's report that refer to a matter or matters that were already appropriately presented or disclosed by the management in the financial statements. Why the auditor is repeating the same thing again and again? Because in the opinion or in the judgment of the auditor, such matter or matters which were already appropriately presented or disclosed by the management in the financial statements is fundamental to users' understanding of the financial statements. Other matter paragraph is used by the auditor in order to draw attention of the users of the financial statements to a particular matter or matters which were not presented or disclosed in the financial statements by the management, but auditor believes that those matters or matters are very much relevant for users' understanding of the auditor's responsibilities and auditor's report to provide more clarity to the readers of financial statements about audit conducted by the auditor, about auditor's responsibilities or about auditor's report. The auditor is having a right to include some other paragraph in his report called as other matter paragraph. This is the definition part of emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. Actually, the definitions that we read are sufficient to understand the objective also. I'll prove that just by reading it. Why should the auditor follow SA 706? The objective of the auditor while following SA 706, having formed an opinion on the financial statements, is to draw user's attention when in the auditor's judgment it is necessary to do so by way of clear additional communication in the auditor's report to a matter although appropriately presented or disclosed in the financial statements, that is of such importance that it is fundamental to users' understanding of the financial statements, nothing but dash paragraph, emphasis of matter paragraph, or the auditor may include any other matter that is relevant to users' understanding of audit, auditor's responsibilities, auditor's report, other matter paragraph. So the same is repeated under the heading objective also. By this, we completed a discussion on topic number 14 under the heading SS 706. Now, topic number 15. This is very important. Be careful while you are reading this topic number 15. Emphasis, this topic deals with the concept of emphasis of matter paragraph. If in the auditor's professional judgment, it is necessary to draw user's attention to a matter already presented or disclosed appropriately in the financial statements, which is fundamental to users' understanding of the financial statements, then the auditor shall include a paragraph in the auditor's report called as dash paragraph, called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Remember, I told you earlier like this, even where auditor includes an emphasis of matter paragraph in his report, you should not treat that report as a modified opinion. You cannot consider that opinion given by the auditor as a modified opinion. In other words, although auditor's report contains a paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph, still we can say that auditor has given only a dash opinion, an unmodified opinion, otherwise called as clean opinion, otherwise called as unqualified opinion. You can call it in either way, but usually we call it either as clean opinion or as unmodified opinion. Some people may even call it as, it is not a qualified opinion, and hence some people may call it even as unqualified opinion. So what you must understand by going through point A, even though the auditor's report includes a separate paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph, we cannot call such a report given by the auditor as a modified report. Still, the report given by the auditor, which includes emphasis of matter paragraph, be considered only as an unmodified opinion. In order to provide more clarity to you about this, I even explained you an illustration under SA 570. For example, without qualifying our report, this is the starting words that will be used by the auditor when the auditor included an emphasis of matter paragraph. Without qualifying our report, we want to bring to your kind consideration the following matters. I will do one thing. I will try to explain this point by showing the relevant standard so that it will be easier for you to understand. In this example, the auditor has included a separate paragraph in his report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Just try to understand the way in which the auditor has included this emphasis of matter paragraph in his report. We draw attention of whom? Attention of users of financial statements to note number 10 of the financial statements. That means the matter which the auditor wants to draw attention of in respect of which the auditor wants to draw the attention of the users of the financial statements has already been included by the management in a note called as note number 10 appropriately in the financial statements. We draw attention to note number 10 of the financial statements, which describes the effects of a fire. In that note, management had described about the fire and its effects on the company's production facilities. Our opinion is not modified. Since we have included a paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Don't think that we are giving a modified opinion. Please understand that we are not giving a dash opinion. We are not giving a modified opinion. We are giving only a clean opinion or unmodified opinion. Our opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. Tell me, what is your understanding after reading this? Although auditor's report includes a separate section called as emphasis of matter, still we need to treat auditor's report as unmodified opinion. It should not be considered as a modified opinion. Are you able to understand the conclusion? Yes or no? Now read that. The auditor would not be required to modify the opinion in accordance with SA 705 as a result of this emphasis of matter. So that means even if you include emphasis of matter paragraph, it should not be called as a modified opinion. Next, this I can explain only after completion of SA 701. Manner of reporting. How to report the emphasis of matter. When the auditor includes an emphasis of matter paragraph in his report, the auditor shall include a paragraph within separate section of the auditor's report with an appropriate heading that includes the term dash. Simply speaking, you need to put a heading called as emphasis of matter. In that paragraph, include in that paragraph a clear reference to matter being emphasized. Tell me, what was the matter the auditor emphasized in this paragraph? Effects of fire. Effects of fire, which was already included in note number 10 in the financial statements by management. In that emphasis of matter paragraph, the auditor should include a clear reference to the matter being emphasized and to where relevant disclosures that fully describe the matter can be found in the financial statements. Where relevant disclosures relating to fire are found in financial statements in note number 10. So, auditor wants to emphasize a matter called as effects of fire. If readers of the financial statements wants to have further understanding of that, readers are required to refer to dash note number 10. Are you able to understand? Should I explain it again? No. I need an answer from all of you people. Otherwise, I will get confused about is it necessary for me to repeat it or not. So, two aspects must be considered by you as an auditor while you are including emphasis of matter paragraph. You need to mention the point which you want to emphasize. In the given case, the auditor wants to emphasize the effects of fire on the company's production facilities. And the auditor also mentions about note number 10. If anybody really wants to understand that point in a more better way, then they need to go through dash note number 10 to the financial statements. They both are required to be specified by the auditor in the emphasis of matter paragraph. Now you can read this point easily understandable. Include in the paragraph a clear reference. The auditor should include in the paragraph a clear reference to the matter being emphasized and where relevant disclosures that fully describe the matter can be found in the financial statements. The paragraph shall refer only to information presented or disclosed in the financial statements. And this point and this point are one and the same. Point number A and point number C. In that paragraph, the auditor should clearly indicate that his opinion is not dash. His opinion is not modified in respect of the matter emphasized. This is about manner of reporting. I told you earlier also, even before starting the discussion on these points, that you are not going to learn any new point even after reading the entire SA 706 except dash, except examples. These examples are very important. They throw some more light about in which scenarios auditor usually includes a paragraph in his report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. An uncertainty relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation or leave the term regulatory action. First try to understand this and make a comment on that. An uncertainty relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation. I need a comment from your side. Other indicators. Point number 1, pending legal proceedings against the entity which results into judgments or which could result into judgments that may not be met, that may create material uncertainty. That point may have already been, that point or that matter. What is that matter? There is a case pending against the entity before court of law. And if court has given any verdict, there is a possibility that the organization may not be able to meet that verdict. In that case, the same has already been disclosed by dash and dash, by management in financial statements. You want to highlight that point, then you can include a separate section in our report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. So usually in the following cases, as an auditor, we are supposed to include a separate paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph. An uncertainty relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation or a regulatory action. Why the term regulatory action is used? I said to you that if you violate or has not complied with any laws or regulations, your going concern assumption might be in danger. Why? Because I told you like this. If a bank violates the Banking Regulation Act or the guidelines or regulations issued by Reserve Bank of India, there is every chance that Reserve Bank of India may cancel the license granted to the bank. When RBI cancels the license granted to the bank, banker cannot continue their operations for a foreseeable future. They need to shut down their operations. Theirs is not a going concern. Why bank is not being considered as a going concern in the given example? Why the bank shut down their operations? Because they lost license. Why the banker lost license? Because they have violated or had not complied with statutory capital requirements or regulatory requirements. So there is a case pending. Against the organization. The case is filed, say, by SEBI regulator, Reserve Bank of India regulator. The case is not yet resolved, and the management is fearing that that case might have an impact on their continuity, and hence management disclosed all those things in their financial statements. The auditor also considers that those things may create material uncertainty. In such case, since the points were already included by the management in the notes to accounts, the auditor can simply include dash in his report. An emphasis of matter paragraph in his report specifying that management had already told us that there are told in the financial statements that there are some material uncertainties relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation or regulatory action. Now read point number B. A major catastrophe that has had or continues to have a significant effect on the entity's financial position. Have I explained anything about the term major catastrophe? A natural calamity had affected the organization and the impact of such natural calamity on the organization's financial position is still continuing. Hence, the same point has already been disclosed by the management in their financial statements. The auditor is of the opinion that the point is very much important for better understanding of financial statements to the readers. Hence, the auditor wants to highlight that matter. Therefore, the auditor can include. Actually, these are all only guidelines. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide whether to include a separate paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph or not. Okay. So these are all the general scenarios wherein auditor might decide to include a separate paragraph in his report called as dash, emphasis of matter paragraph. Read it. Are you able to understand the base on which we are discussing this point? Generally, in the following cases, the points might have already been included by the management in the financial statements. If as an auditor you are of the opinion that these points merit consideration of the shareholders to have better understanding of the financial statements by the shareholders, you can also include those points by including a separate section in our report called as dash, emphasis of matter paragraph. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide whether to include these matters by putting a separate heading in our report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. An uncertainty relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation or regulatory action, a major catastrophe that has had or continues to have a significant effect on the entity's financial position. A significant subsequent event. Have I explained you anything about subsequent event? Yes. What you call as events occurring after the date of balance sheet in accounts, we call them as subsequent events in auditing. Of course, the scope of subsequent events is much wider than the scope of events occurring after the date of balance sheet. Yes or no? So, I even explained you events occurring after the date of balance sheet, classifying them into adjusting events and non-adjusting events. Can you please repeat the definition of events occurring after the date of balance sheet? Is AS for completed? But I explained it in an elaborative way. What is the definition of events occurring after the date of balance sheet? Events occurring after the date of balance sheet can be defined as those events that occur between the date of balance sheet or after the date of balance sheet and up to the date of approval of or authentication of financial statements by management, for which I have taken two dates. 31st March is said to be date of financial statements. Assume that financial statements have been approved by management on 10th April. On 10th April, if any event took place, occurs in between 31st March and 10th April, such events shall be technically called as events occurring after the date of balance sheet in accounts. Those events can be classified broadly into two categories. First one is adjusting events. The second one is non-adjusting events. What are adjusting events? Adjusting events can be defined as those events in respect of which conditions do exist on the date of balance sheet and further evidence is available in respect of such conditions after the date of balance sheet. Non-adjusting events can be defined as those events in respect of which conditions do not exist on the date of balance sheet, but those events do take place after the date of balance sheet. Adjusting events shall have to be adjusted in the financial statements, although they occur subsequent to the date of financial statements. Non-adjusting events are not required to be adjusted, but they are required to be disclosed in the financial statements. If you are not capable of recollecting these things, I can't help you in any manner. Don't blame me. I took almost half an hour time to explain you what are events occurring after the date of balance sheet. I do remember the point where I explained these things to you when I am discussing SA 210 with you. That is particularly management's responsibilities. Identification of events occurring after the date of balance sheet, classifying them into adjusting events and non-adjusting events, and ensuring that all adjusting events have been properly adjusted and all non-adjusting events have been properly disclosed is the primary responsibility of the management. In order to explain that, I started explaining you the concept of events occurring after the date of balance sheet. If you need any evidence, I will show you that evidence also. Do you need it? No. Occurrence of fire accident is not an adjusting event, but it requires disclosure in the financial statements for the simple reason that a condition that fire accident may take place on so and so date will not be there on the date of financial statements. Yes or no? What we call as events occurring after the date of balance sheet can be called as subsequent events in auditing. However, the scope of subsequent events is wider than the scope of events occurring after the date of balance sheet. On that date, I told you about three important dates: 31st March 2024, 10th April 2024, and say 25th August 2024. This is considered as date of financial statements. This is considered as date of approval of financial statements by management. This is called as date of auditor's report. By the time I explain you this date, 25th August, date of auditor's report, you don't know what is the significance of date of auditor's report. But fortunately now you are able to understand the importance attached to date given by the auditor to his report. What the date of auditor's report signifies? If you give a date to your report, it means you are explaining to the users, you are declaring to the users that you have taken into account all the events that occur up to that date, and those events have been classified by you either as adjusting events or as non-adjusting events, and you have ensured that all adjusting events are properly adjusted and all non-adjusting events have been properly disclosed. A good definition is given by the CA Institute for date of auditor's report. The definition given by the CA Institute for date of auditor's report is just like this. Date of auditor's report can be defined as the date the auditor dates his report. What is that? What is the definition of date of auditor's report given by ICAI? As per ICAI, date of auditor's report can be defined as the date the auditor dates his report. Excellent. So, if any event took place between these two dates, then it is called as events occurring after the date of balance sheet. If anything occurs between 31st March and 25th April, that is date of financial statements and date of auditor's report, they need to be called as dash. Subsequent events. Even subsequent events are to be classified into adjusting and non-adjusting events. This is what I explained to you earlier about subsequent events. So a significant subsequent event occurred between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report that has already been disclosed. Remember, the precondition for inclusion of emphasis of matter paragraph is that such point should have already been disclosed by the management in the financial statements. I cannot say every time that this point, if this point has already been included by the management in the financial statements, then only the auditor should include it in the emphasis of matter paragraph. What is the precondition for emphasis of matter paragraph? You can include emphasis of matter paragraph only when that point has already been disclosed by the management in the financial statements. So in all these cases, we are making an assumption that these aspects have already been considered by management. These aspects have already been included by the management in the financial statements. The auditor just wanted to highlight such matters. Therefore, the auditor wanted to include such matters again in his report under the heading emphasis of matter paragraph. If you do not understand the precondition for emphasis of matter paragraph, there is no point in reading and understanding these examples. Understood? So these are all generally called as examples wherein as an auditor we are supposed to introduce, we are supposed to include a separate section in our report called as dash, emphasis of matter paragraph. Are you able to understand this? Now, an uncertainty relating to future outcome of an exceptional litigation or regulatory action, a major catastrophe that has had or continues to have a significant effect on the entity's financial position, a significant subsequent event that occurs between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report. All significant related party relationships and transactions. We had enough discussion on the term related parties and related party transactions. I proved to you that generally related party transactions may not be entered at arm's length price. Even I explained you the definition of arm's length transaction. Arm's length transaction can be defined as a transaction between a knowledgeable willing buyer and a knowledgeable willing seller. Both the parties are having very good knowledge of the subject matter. So one party cannot deceive the other party. Therefore, any price agreed upon between those two knowledgeable persons can be called as a fair price. One party cannot provide advantage to the other party. That is called as called as arm's length transactions. Generally, in between related parties, arm's length transaction won't take place. I will explain this further under section 188 of the Companies Act. Under CARO, there is a particular point under CARO. What is CARO? What is CARO? What is the expansion of the term CARO? Companies, Auditors, Report, Order 2020. ఏం చెప్పాలమ్మా మీకు, నాకు చెప్పబుద్ధి కావట్లా. కంపెనీస్ ఆడిటర్స్ రిపోర్ట్ ఆర్డర్ 2020. When I introduced you section 143 subsection 1 of the Companies Act, I told you that this section includes both rights and duties. Subsection 2, 3 and 4 includes only duties. Fortunately, we completed 143 subsection 3 and subsection 4 as well. 5, 6, 7 are known to you. 5, C&AG can provide directions in case of audit of government companies. 6, supplementary audit. 7, test audit. 8, branch audit. 9 and 10, following standards on auditing. Then 11, CARO. Under 143 subsection 1, auditor needs to make an inquiry into 6 aspects. Whereas under section 143 subsection 11, that is CARO 2020, you are required to make an inquiry into 21 points. Very soon I am going to start SA CARO 2020 after completion of this SA 706, 260 and 701. That is the order. 705, 260 and 701. You can understand 701 only when you are able to understand 260. Right? So, in CARO 2020 also, there is a particular point called as related party transactions. Because you are having material, this is the chapter in which CARO is appearing. You can just go through that CARO. Probably that point is 9th or 10th point, related parties. First one, property, plant and equipment. Second one, inventories. Third one, loans. Fourth one, also loans. Fifth one, cost accounting records, deposits. Sixth one, cost accounting records. Seventh one, statutory dues. Eighth one, unrecorded. Eighth one. Ninth one, default. 10th one, 11th. That is also already known to you under section 143 subsection 12. What is to be discussed here is different from what we discussed under 143 subsection 12. Next one, identify related party transactions. That's it. So this point is having a reference to CARO also. I will explain elaboratively about related party transactions under CARO. So, if some significant related party transactions have been entered and they were disclosed by the management, and if the auditor wants to repeat them, then the auditor can include a paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph. This point is difficult to understand unless it is elaboratively explained. Early application. What is that? early application were permitted of a new accounting standard that has a material effect on the financial statements. Please listen to this example. Assume that ICAI has issued a new accounting standard. When a new accounting standard is issued, generally ICAI is under obligation to specify, to mention about the date of applicability of that accounting standard. Every accounting standard shall contain date of its applicability. Assume that in the given case, ICAI has issued a new accounting standard. In the accounting standard itself, ICAI mentioned that this standard will be made applicable from 1/4/2025. That means from the financial year 2025-2026. What the institute says, it has issued a new accounting standard and it mentioned the date of applicability as 1st April 2025. That means it is made applicable from the financial year 25-26. But in that notification given by ICAI, it was also mentioned by ICAI that we are allowing entities to apply this new accounting standard even before the date of its applicability. That means if any entity wants to follow this new accounting standard earlier than the date of its applicability. What is the date of its applicability? 1st April 2025. If you want to follow this new accounting standard even before 1/4/2025, that means an entity wants to follow this accounting standard not from the year 25-26, but from the year 24-25 itself, because it was already issued by the institute. Institute also permitted early application of the accounting standard. Since institute permitted it, rather than following this standard from 25-26, entity followed it in the year 24-25. Okay, because of following of this new accounting standard earlier than its applicability, the entity got a profit of 80 crore rupees. Actual profit before application of this accounting standard is 8 lakh rupees. What is the actual profit earned by the entity? Just 8 lakhs. They take the advantage of early application of this accounting standard. They know that if they apply this accounting standard and treatment given therein, their profits will rise from 8 lakh rupees to 80 crore rupees, and hence immediately the entity applied the accounting standard earlier than the actual date of application, because it is permitted by dash. It is permitted by ICAI. But what they did is, in the financial statements, in the notes to accounts, they clearly mentioned that actually we got this much profit, but because of application of this new accounting standard earlier than the date of its applicability, we got the profit of 80 crores. The fact has already been reported by the management in the financial statements. If the auditor wants to highlight that matter, what the auditor should do? He has to include a paragraph in his report called as dash, emphasis of matter paragraph. Read it. Early application were permitted. In the given example, CA Institute permitted the entity to apply the accounting standard in advance of its actual applicability. Early application were permitted of new accounting standard that has a material effect on the financial statements. Is that accounting standard has material effect on the financial statements in the given example? Yes, it increased the profit from just 8 lakh rupees to 80 crore rupees, which was already included by the management. You want to include it in our emphasis of matter paragraph, do that. Next one. This is very easy to understand. Other conditions raising a substantial doubt about entity's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time exists, but have been alleviated by management's plans and adequately disclosed. That means management is able to meet such things as per their plans and they were adequately disclosed. In such case, conditions raising a substantial doubt about entity's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time exists, but have been alleviated by management's plans and adequately disclosed. there are some material uncertainties about the entity's ability to continue in operation for a foreseeable future. Then auditor had some discussions with management. Management has explained their plans to mitigate those problems. Auditor satisfied with that. Apart from that, management has already disclosed all such material uncertainties appropriately in the financial statements. In that case, what type of opinion should you express? A clean opinion. Apart from plus, I recorded like this, plus, clean plus, you must include. Initially, I said like this, you must include an emphasis. Then I stopped there. Then I said that you have to include a separate paragraph called as material uncertainty relating to going concern. Later, I proved that material uncertainty relating to going concern is also nothing but an example of an emphasis of matter paragraph. Yes or no? That's it. These are all the examples wherein the auditor is expected to include, a separate section in his report called as dash. Over. That's it. Next. Some examples are, what is that? Performance materiality. I will do that. Please wait. Okay. ప్రతిదానికి ఒక టైం వస్తుంది, అప్పుడు చెప్పుకుందాం. నెక్స్ట్ వన్. This is very difficult, but I can explain this point easily because we already completed discussion on 700. We completed discussion even on SS 705. Emphasis of matter paragraph is not a substitute. Very difficult. Be careful. Read this point. Emphasis of matter paragraph is not a substitute for a modified opinion in accordance with SS 705. What does it mean? Auditor already decided to issue a modified opinion. It may be either a qualified opinion or adverse opinion or even disclaimer of opinion. Meanwhile, management made a request to the auditor like this. Sir, you decided to issue a modified opinion. That means you are going to provide either a qualified opinion or an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion. Please do one thing, sir. Instead of modifying your opinion, please give a clean opinion. Please provide an unmodified opinion. This is a request made by dash to dash, made by management to the auditor. Instead of issuing a modified opinion, please give us an unmodified opinion. Whatever you want to mention as remarks in qualified opinion or adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion, you can include all those remarks. Whatever you want to comment, you can comment, but not under the heading qualified opinion or adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion. Instead, you can include all your remarks by putting a separate section in your report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. If you were the auditor, if I were the management, if I made a proposal before you like this, would you accept this proposal? If your answer is no, why? I asked you two questions. Would you accept this proposal? Point number one. If not, why? Point number two. Should I repeat the question? You have decided to issue a modified opinion. I am asking you to issue an unmodified opinion, and whatever you want to disclose or report to the shareholders under the heading qualified or adverse or a disclaimer of opinion can also be included by you by putting a separate section in our report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Do you agree for that proposal or not? Question number one. Yes or no? Why? If you include emphasis of matter paragraph, it is still said that you are giving a dash opinion. You originally planned to issue, but you end up in giving unmodified opinion. That means the auditor is providing an inappropriate opinion. When the auditor provides inappropriate opinion, there will arise a risk called as audit risk. Yes or no? Will you take that risk? Therefore, If you want to give a modified opinion, you must have to give a modified opinion. Don't try to include such points in a paragraph called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Including dash in the auditor's report is not a substitute for issuance of dash. Including dash in the auditor's opinion is not a substitute for issuing a dash opinion. Inclusion of an emphasis of matter paragraph in the auditor's report is not a substitute for issuing a modified opinion. If you want to issue a modified opinion, issue modified opinion. Don't try to incorporate a separate section in our report called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Are you able to understand this? Read it again. Point number 2. I haven't explained point number 1 yet. So, emphasis of matter paragraph is not a substitute for a modified opinion in accordance with SA 705. Just now I told this point to some student who asked a doubt to me. This emphasis of matter paragraph, it is you. Emphasis of matter paragraph is not a substitute for disclosures in the financial statements that AFRF requires management to make or that are otherwise necessary to achieve fair presentation. What is the literal meaning of this? Management had to make some disclosures. Management failed to disclose those things. Then the auditor wanted to disclose all such disclosures which management fails to disclose by introducing a paragraph or a section called as emphasis of matter paragraph. Can the auditor permitted to disclose the matters which management failed to disclose? No. Why? Generally, when a disclosure that is required to be made is not made, when a disclosure to be made by the management is not made, it is a misstatement. If such misstatement is generally disclosures, if disclosure is not made, it is considered as material. That means there will be some material misstatements in the financial statements. When there are material misstatements, if you were the auditor, are you willing to provide an unmodified opinion by introducing a separate paragraph in your report called as emphasis of matter paragraph, wherein you wanted to disclose all such disclosures which management failed to do? No. So, if management fails to disclose something in the financial statements, as an auditor, you cannot give a clean opinion and you cannot include an emphasis of matter paragraph wherein you will try to disclose the disclosures that are not made by the management. That is not acceptable. That is not allowed. So, read it again. Emphasis of matter paragraph should not be used as a substitute by the auditor for the sake of disclosing, for the sake of including disclosures which are expected to be included by the management in their financial statements as per applicable financial reporting framework. And reporting in accordance with SA 570 when, this is important, reporting in accordance with SA 570 when a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cause significant doubt on an entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Actually, in that case also we are including dash, emphasis of matter paragraph, but we are not calling it as dash, an emphasis of matter paragraph. Instead, we are calling it with a separate name called as dash, material uncertainty related. So, when there are material uncertainties, don't include that under the heading emphasis of matter paragraph. Put a separate heading for that. Understand? Reporting in accordance with SA 570 when a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cause significant doubt on the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. So, do you include only emphasis of matter paragraph in your report without including opinion paragraph in the report? Report is meant for including an opinion. Without including an opinion, why you are giving a report? So, as a substitute for opinion, you can't include dash. As a substitute for opinion, you can't include emphasis of matter paragraph. Understood or not? Please go through this. How many points are appearing here? A7. A7. How many points are given here? First point is not there in original standard, I know it. But because it is given in our material, I have explained to the extent possible. And to prove that that point is not there in the original standard, I am showing you the original standard. Just go through the original standard. including an emphasis of matter paragraph in the auditor's report. The inclusion of an emphasis of matter paragraph in the auditor's report does not affect the auditor's opinion. An emphasis of matter paragraph is not a substitute for a modified opinion in accordance with SS 705. Disclosures in the financial statements that the applicable financial reporting framework requires management to make are that otherwise necessary to achieve fair presentation, reporting in accordance with SA 570. So first point is not actually there in the original standard. You can leave it. That is the reason why I started explaining points from second one, not from the first one. So second, third and fourth are there in the original standard. That's it. By this, we completed discussion on topic number 16. Then what is other matter paragraph? Criteria for reporting. If in the, by this we completed discussion on emphasis of matter paragraph. Now we are focusing on other matter paragraph. If in the auditor's professional judgment, it is necessary to draw users' attention to a matter other than that those are presented or disclosed in the financial statements, which is relevant to users' understanding of financial statements, this is wrong. By mistake it is given. Dash is not given to for better understanding of financial statements. Other matter paragraph is included not for better understanding of financial statements, for better understanding of auditor's report, and auditor's conclusions or opinion, etc. Yes or no? That point is correctly given in the definition part. That point is correctly given in the definitions part. Audit, auditor's responsibilities and auditor's report. But by mistake, here instead of printing that, they have printed the term understanding of financial statements. So this is wrong. Make a change of it. He shall include other matter paragraph in the auditor's report when it is not prohibited by law or regulation. When SS 701 applies, I can't explain you what is SS 701 now, but I will try to explain this point now itself. I will repeat this point in SS 701 also, because this point is easy to understand. Without having knowledge of SS 701 also, you can understand this point. When SS 701 applies, what is SS 701? Key audit matters. SS 701 is key audit matters. When SS 701 applies, why the term applies is used? Anybody? Including emphasis of matter paragraph is not an obligation to the auditor every time. Only where you are conducting audit of a listed entity, you are under obligation to include a separate section in your report called as emphasis of key audit matter. Otherwise, in other cases, there is no compulsion. You can include that voluntarily. Yes or no? So, inclusion of emphasis of matter paragraph is, inclusion of key audit matter paragraph is not a compulsion in all cases. That is the reason why here it is written as when key audit matters 701 applies, then the matter has not been determined to be a key audit matter to be communicated in the auditor's report. This sentence is the worst formation of the sentence. I will try to change it. Okay. Auditor decides that a particular point is a key matter which is to be included under the heading key audit matters. Management requested the auditor like this: Sir, instead of reporting this matter under the heading key audit matter, do one thing, sir. Issue a clean opinion. Include a separate paragraph in your report called as other matter paragraph. The matter that you wanted to include under the heading key audit matters, include it under the heading other matter paragraph. If you consider a matter as a key audit matter paragraph, that should be reported only as key audit matter paragraph. Instead of reporting it as a key audit matter paragraph, you should not report it in other matter paragraph. So, which is being considered as more important by ICAI? Which is being considered as more important by ICAI? Is it key audit matter paragraph or other matter paragraph? So, if a matter is required to be included under key audit matter paragraph, you need to include that only under key audit matter paragraph. Don't try to include that under the heading other matter paragraph. That is the meaning of that. That I will explain again in SS 701. The way in which I explained, that will be there in SS 701, not in this way. Okay. So, this point will be repeated again under SA 701. If you want to include other matter paragraph, you must have to include a separate section with the heading other matter or other appropriate heading. Enough. I will try to stop for today and I will try to explain the remaining points in the next class. But before leaving the class, I will try to show you the Reliance Industries Limited's auditors report, particularly a separate paragraph included in that called as other matter. Under the heading auditor's responsibility, for audit of standalone financial statements, the auditor can include not only report on other legal and regulatory requirements, he can also include a paragraph called as other matter. This is nothing but as per SA 706. Okay. The standalone financial statements of the company for the year ended so and so have been prepared in accordance with Ind AS, have been audited by predecessor auditors. The report of the predecessor's auditors dated so and so expressed an unmodified opinion. I can't explain this as of now. Trust me, I will explain this after completion of SA 710 and SA 510. What are they? SA 710 and SA 510. In SA 510, the term predecessor auditor is used. In SA 710 also it was used. What is meant by predecessor auditor? Previous auditor. Auditor from a different firm. You are not the auditor of the entity for the previous year. You were the auditor for the year ended 31st March 2023. For the year 22, you are not the auditor. Some other person has conducted audit of these financial statements. That matter, the auditor wants to bring to the attention of the users of the financial. Dear users, don't make an assumption that I carried out the audit of this entity for the previous year also. I have carried out audit only for the current year. In the previous year, some other person has carried out your audit. If you want to convey that to the shareholders, why should the auditor include other matter paragraph? To provide more understanding about audit, auditor's responsibilities or auditor's report. So to provide more understanding about audit, you convey to the shareholders that only current year audit has been carried out by you and previous year audit has not been carried out by you. It has been carried out by a predecessor auditor. That's it. SA 706. Emphasis of matter paragraph as well as other matter paragraph. Have I explained you this topic number 17 as well? Yes or no? I don't remember it, but read. Oh, okay, very good. So 17 is also completed.